What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and although it is raining and so I'm stuck inside this week, it is time for the astrology of the week ahead. Thank y'all so much for being here with me. This week is not a particularly raucous week, which I'm always happy to see because so much goes on every time that we look around, like everything is happening. What I do think is interesting, so like we don't have too much going on in terms of like people changing signs or folks making a lot of aspects to one another, this kind of thing. It's like kind of folks are where they are doing stuff, doing whatever it is that they're doing. That's what they're doing this week. So like for example, we've got Mars in Virgo this week, and then we also have Venus in Taurus this week, and both of them are going to hang out there for basically the whole time. At the very end of the week, we're going to see Venus moving into Gemini, but we'll talk about that next week. So Venus in Taurus, I've been talking about Venus in Taurus for a couple of weeks here. Venus in Taurus is very good at doing the Venus things, very good for cooperation and harmony and togetherness and all of this kind of thing, right? And so it's really nice to see Venus in this position, especially at the same time that Jupiter is in Cancer. Both the benefics look really good, like they're able to do their thing in a solid and, effective kind of way, right? So this is really cute. Like to see that, especially since Venus in Taurus is making a whole sign trine to Mars in Virgo. So we're not going to see an exact aspect between those two at this point, but we can still see that they are working together and they're able to help each other and support each other in some pretty meaningful ways. And so especially seeing Venus and Mars work together can be a kind of dynamic that is magnetic. It is attractive. They have a way of getting together and like sparks fly in a way that can be really fun and exciting. So I love to see that going on here. What I do notice here is that Venus in Taurus is hanging out with Uranus, and at the end of the week is going to make a conjunction to Uranus at the very end of Taurus, and the last degree of Taurus there. And so that is interesting because Uranus is the planet of surprises and disruption and things moving in a direction that you wouldn't necessarily expect immediately, right? And so, and Taurus, it likes to be fixed and stable and likes to just do the thing, whatever the thing is that is going on there. It wants to just like get in that rut and just do that thing real hard. It's really good for stability. And so a planet that disrupts things can bring a different kind of vibe to things. I typically think about this as invention or innovation, right? So invention or innovation in Venus in Taurus things. So when we're thinking about like things that are delicious or ways of relating to one another or that feel good, that have a sensuous component to them, that or something sensory that like feels really nice or delicious or something like that. So a new way of approaching pleasure dynamics, right? And so what's really interesting here is that making this trine to Mars in Virgo. So Virgo is a mutable sign. So both of these are earth signs, right? So they both care a lot about practicality. They care about making something that is useful. By the way, if you are interested in making this astrological information useful and you want some information about how to live your own life or where you are in your moment, then you can go to zambonifunk.com. You can get a reading there. There is a 10-minute transit touch point, which is quick and easy. It is super approachable, and a lot of folks have said really nice things about that. So the 10-minute transit touch point is an affordable way to get a reading for yourself that can give you some actionable insight as to how to proceed on a particular topic or situation or circumstance or something like that. If you want to learn more about astrology, you can also go to zambonifunk.com and check out the Astrology from the Ground Up course. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff going on at zambonifunk.com. Oh, also, I'm going to be speaking at the North Star Camp Out in, it's like outside of Portland, Oregon. I would love to see y'all in the middle of July. So check all that out. There'll be links in the bio and all that. Appreciate y'all. So thinking with practicality, right? Venus in Taurus trine to Mars in Virgo. So Mars in Virgo Mars is the action planet. Mars is the one that wants to get stuff done, that wants to do stuff, right? To sort of like shape the world in its image. That's the way that I always think about Mars, right? And Virgo is this mutable earth sign, right? It's the one that's adaptable, it's changeable, it wants to move things around, and it's not committed to one outcome necessarily, but rather is ready to be flexible such that we can improve things all the time. So this is really good when it comes to like invention and innovation, because a lot of times what you need is a prototype that you then iterate for a little while. You figure out what's wrong with your model, and then you like change stuff and try it another time and try it another time, right? So this is, it looks like it wants to move forward a kind of aggressively, maybe a little ruthlessly. This Mars in Virgo actually looks pretty ruthless there with the South Node as well. The South Node is a point that typically has to do with like purging things, releasing, letting go of stuff in some kind of way. And so it cares very little about holding on to what is, and cares a lot about letting that go and moving in a new direction with stuff, right? And so to see Mars there in Virgo, like very much concerned with like separating from dross, right? Getting rid of the stuff that's not serving you in whatever way, looks like it can be really effective for generating effective systems, or ways of managing projects or problems or these kinds of things, right? Especially as insofar as we are looking at power and power dynamics and like like the machinations of authority complexes and this kind of stuff. We can think about how Saturn is in Aries, and so Saturn is the planet that has to do with management and rules and boundaries and stuff like that, in Aries, ruled by Mars. Cares a lot about what's going on with that Mars. But Mars is in Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Mercury has just entered the shadow in Leo, so we're going to see a Mercury retrograde in Leo in a couple of weeks, and that is going to be, so we've already seen Mercury in Leo opposite to Pluto in Aquarius, and actually what's going to happen is after the Mercury retrograde, Mercury is going to station direct again opposite to Pluto in Aquarius. And so there's something here that has to do with like the way that we wield power and attention, and the way that our attention creates a power dynamic, right? And so, but because it's Mercury retrograde coming up soon, it's not Mercury retrograde yet, but we've entered the shadow period. So we're in the space where we're gonna, like, the stuff that goes on, we are going to have to come back to it and see what is really real about that, and notice where we got things wrong. See what I'm saying about iteration? Prototype your thing and then iterate, right? Because, and on the understanding that that first model is not going to be the real one. The first thing that you come up with is not going to be the most effective way to make your moves, to launch your product or do your thing, or like whatever your plan is. That the first time is not going to do it, and so you're going to have to come back and try some stuff and try some different ways of doing things, right? And so this looks like a really good time to get some heads together to cooperate, right? That Venus in Taurus is really strong right now, so this is a good time to feed your homies, give away. Generosity is a great way to build communion and togetherness, right? And so, and doing delicious things together helps us to feel like we are in it together, and like if somebody else has a great idea, and even if it wasn't your own idea, then that can still be a great idea, and we can work that into the model and try a new thing, right? Or if you want to be really generous about things, then what you can do is you can have a great idea and then let other people think that it was their idea. That's how. And if you want to, you're getting into power dynamics and like kind of like hidden power dynamics, right? This kind of thing, like Pluto is really big on that sort of stuff. Then that, anytime someone can think that it's their own idea, then they're more likely to act on that, right? And so controlling the narrative in that way by seeding ideas and then giving them to others, this is a really great way to move your or get your ideas into motion, right? And so this is a really good way for planning out how to get the thing done that you want to get done, and working through methods to do it. there's really good new ideas to be had in the sky this week, and so don't forget to get out into the woods and ask the trees. They're so good at letting you think that it was your idea. Appreciate y'all. Go to San